What's going on, everyone? So, I wanted to talk about the OG3 and the previous four Ghostface killings, as well as a potential theory going into Scream 5 that I think is highly believable and something that I personally would like to see them touch on. And as always, have a discussion with you, so let me know what you think down in the comments below. Now, before we jump into it, be sure to like this video. It helps me out a lot, lets me know that you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. And if you're not subscribed, subscribe to the channel, followed by the bell notification so you never miss an upload, and let's get into it. So, when it comes to the four Woodsboro and, Hollywood, and just killings in general and Windsor and things like that, the only common denominator of all of them have been the OG3. And at what point do authorities look at them as an accomplice? I mean, you have Dewey as the sheriff, you have Gale as the reporter, so they have the ties, they have sort of motives to, to why they could be involved in ways that they could cover it up. And, and then Sidney being the final girl. I mean, you got to think, outside of Dewey, none of them have really had any major attacks. I mean, Sidney's had her beat ups and, her wounds and stuff, but nothing that you could say was like extremely life threatening. The closest would be Scream 4. That was the one where she was seriously injured and on the brink of what appeared to be death. Outside of that, there haven't really been any that is, I can't believe she survived that type thing, other than Dewey. And Gale's, yeah, she got shot in the shoulder, she's been stabbed a couple times, but again, it's all been in places where she is very likely to survive. She's never gotten a call from Ghostface, so there's all these things that if you start putting it together from an authority standpoint, I know nobody wants to see them be like the bad guys, see them be directly involved, but I'm just saying it would be very interesting to see a storyline in Scream 5 where a new set of killings happen, and maybe even Hicks is if she is involved and she is the bad person, maybe she gets authorities and, the FBI and stuff like that looking into the OG3, because she's like, hey, they've been involved in all of these and have been the only ones pretty much that have survived. So, you should check them out. And it would just add that layer of, of tension, because you have them, stepping over toes and these killings are going on and they're, being held in. And it would just be a very interesting sort of change up to the Scream story, and one that really fits. And again, at what point do police start investigating them? I mean, people get investigated for a lot less than real life. And again, the main tie that these three have is that they've been involved in all of them, no matter where they've been at. Again, you had Woodsboro again in 4. You had, Windsor College, and which was completely separate. Who shows up when the killings happen? Dewey. Who's there? Gale. You have Sidney. So you have the OG3 at the scene of the crimes for all of this stuff, and then you have the Hollywood killings. Who shows up? Gale. Who's there? Dewey. Dewey is already there. There's even the Dewey theory, which I've done an entire video on, and a ton of evidence that sort of links him to being a sort of mastermind behind the scenes. And, a lot of people poke fun at that theory. They're like, it was already done in Scary Movie. But that doesn't mean it wasn't a good storyline. That doesn't mean that it wouldn't fit this sort of narrative. And what was the original title of Scream? It was Scary Movie. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe there's a link there. But I don't think that they would go that route. I don't think that they would make them the bad guys or have any of them truly linked to the Woodsboro killings, but it's very possible that they could easily, look into them and start harassing them and investigating them, because they think every time this happens, you three are here. You three are involved at some point in some way, and you have power in being the sheriff now, which you were the deputy in the original. You know, Gale has always been a high-powered reporter. Yeah, she's kind of mellowed off and tapered off, but all of these killings happen, and then, you know, what do reporters do? Stage the news. Randy himself said it. You know, I should even do a video, because I've done the Dewey theory. We should, I should look into sort of like ties for Gale, and we should have a little fun video trying to link her to being the mastermind behind the scenes, because I think she makes a lot of sense too. The Dewey thing, if you don't know what the Dewey theory is, I'll link that video down in the description. You should check it out, because it's actually a really interesting theory, and when you look at all the evidence and really like put it together, you're like, hey, you know, there might be something there. But at the same time, you can kind of make anything believable, especially in the world of film. But back to the point is that I just think that it is, again, a very believable story that in real life would happen. I mean, they have never, as far as we know, have never been looked into. Everyone's always just assumed that they're victims. And I understand the Woodsboro part, because, you know, they're a small town. You know, they kind of know everybody. Dewey's been the deputy and then the sheriff, so he can kind of move around, and you know, nobody's really looking at them because they're always seem to be the target of the attacks. But that's a good way to get away with it too. You know, like if you're the primary focus where where everyone thinks that Ghostface is really coming after you, but you end up, you know, surviving them all. You know, it's a good way to sort of cover up your involvement, because you can just say, like, why would I stab myself? Why would I, you know, shoot myself? Why would I tell them or advise them to do this if I'm, you know, a part of it? Not just that, but I mean, even like take Dewey. He has been the one that has had the most life-threatening attacks, and ones that, you know, a lot of people are on the fence with, like, should he have survived those or not? Like, how did he survive those? But if you think of the second attack in Scream 2, they say the reason he survived was because he was stabbed in scar tissue, and it saved his life. So if he was involved, then it's very likely that Ghostface would know, like, hey, you need to stab me here. You know, like how Billy and Stu had it planned, you know, you're going to stab me here, you're going to do this, same thing. Like Dewey's telling everybody, explaining everything. You know, I just think it would be interesting to see them targeted, not only by Ghostface, but now by the authorities, because they think that they have some involvement. I just think it's an interesting idea that I wanted to present and have a discussion with you all down in the comments below. So as always, make sure you join this discussion. Be on the lookout tomorrow for, boom, I'm going to make the official video announcement for this. So make sure you are tuned in, subscribe to the channel, and look out for that video tomorrow. And if you haven't yet, don't forget to like this video. It helps me out a lot, lets me know that you enjoy these types of videos, and I truly appreciate it. And subscribe to the channel, followed by the bell notification so you never miss an upload. I'll see you all in the next one. Thank you.